Hi everyone. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to you all for getting your critical essays on My Last Duchess handed in on Wednesday. I received most of these on Wednesday afternoon because I know you guys were timing yourselves doing them, so well done. And I received another couple on Thursday. Of people that weren't able to do it on Wednesday. So I'm assuming that all of those were timed when you were doing them. So thank you so much for sending those in. You guys sending those in has made me able to sort of dish those out to you all, because what we're going to do with those is a little bit of peer assessment before myself and Miss Murphy give you feedback on them. The reason that we do peer assessment at higher level is because it's a good way for you to see how other people are interpreting the texts that you're studying. It's very easy to get locked inside your own heads and inside your own ideas about particular texts. So it is good to share those ideas and see how other people think about them, what other people's opinions are of them, how other people are analysing the poems, and other texts as well that you're studying. So that's why we're doing this today before you get extra feedback from myself and Miss Murphy. So I'm going to just take you through, before you get started on it, I'm going to take you through how I would like you to give that peer feedback, which is why I am on the Teams page just now. So there's a few things that I would like you to do, and I would like you to do them in a particular order. So what I would like you to start with is by going to the General channel and then going up to the Files tab here and click on the Critical Essay folder. Now, in the critical essay folder, you'll see a document here that says Higher Critical Essays Help. Click on that. And you will see a document that I put in there on Wednesday, I think. This was just to give you some information about what you should be including in your critical essay when you were completing that on Wednesday. And then at the bottom, there was a box for you to do a little bit of, to check out your own essay at the end of it. So once you'd written your essay, you should have looked at this checklist and ticked off what you had done. So if your point was clear and concise and uses the words of the questions, then you could put a wee check mark in there. Okay, I only received one of these on Wednesday. I've received lots of essays, but only one of these. So that means that it's either slipped people's mind to do this, or it slipped people's mind to send it. Okay, whatever one it was, if you can make sure that you do this first and you email this to myself and Miss Murphy. I've locked the document so that people can't edit it in here, so you'll need to go up to these three dots, click on them, click download, download your own copy here, open it up, enable editing, and then read through the checklist. If you've done what it says in the checklist, put a wee X. Put a wee X. If you've not done something, if you look at it and you go, oh no, my evidence wasn't very relevant, I just picked whatever quote I could, then just leave it blank. Okay, so if you think you've not done something, just leave it blank. It's no big deal. I just want to know that you are able to look at your own work and to self-assess it and say what you have done well and what you need to do better in the future. Okay, so make sure that you do this before you do anything else. If you need to pause the video here, please do so and go and find that document, and you can go on with that just now. Okay, so I'm going to close that down and I'm going to go up to class notebook and just show you what I've done. So if we go into class notebook, I'll show you an example over here. So I've split you guys into different numbers. So I want this peer assessment to be anonymous. I don't want any of you knowing whose work you're marking, and in the same breath, I also don't want the person whose work is being marked knowing who marked it either, right? So you should just have it totally anonymous. That means that for some people who put their names on their work, so I've cropped those out. I apologise if I missed anybody's names. I tried to be really vigilant with it and tried to make sure that there were no names on at all, so if I've missed one, I really do apologise, but I don't think that I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to let's see, let's go into Emily's here. I'm just going to use Emily's as an example. So let's say Emily is watching this video and she thinks, right, I'm going to go in now and I'm going to see who's the essay that I've got and that I need to peer assess. Where will I find that? Well, you will find that by going to the critical essay section here, clicking on that. And then I've put in everybody's critical essay section, I've added a page called peer assessment. So if you click on that, and then soon you should see an essay coming up, okay? Most of them are photographs because I did ask for you to handwrite these. A couple of people have typed them. I've just put up the Word document, so but most people are going to see photographs of writing. This is pretty small, so if this was me, if I was Emily, I'd be looking at that going, oh my god, how am I supposed to read that? Well, what you can do is hover over it, put your cursor over it, right click it, and then see this here, you can click grow. Click it again, click it again, click it again, however many times you want, and it just makes that a wee bit bigger for you. Okay, if you make it too big, then you can go to shrink and it'll shrink it back down for you. Okay, that way you can read it, it'll be a bit clearer for you, and at the side as you're reading it, because you will be assessing this, you'll be filling out a document for it, so at the side you could be typing up some notes of things that have been done well and things that the person might need to improve on. Okay, so these notes that you'll type up at the side of them here, they'll just be for yourself. You'll be making sort of more sort of clearer notes in the document. Alright, so that's how you find the essay that you've been given, and like I say, you shouldn't know whose essay you've got, and the person who, when they get their essay back, you shouldn't know who's marked it either. Okay, so names are nowhere to be seen here. Alright, so if we come out of that, I'm going to go back up to files, because once you've found the essay and once you've read it over and once you've put in typed up some notes for yourself on the things that are good and the things that need to be worked on, then you're going to go back up to files. You're going to go back to critical essay folder. You're going to go to this document here, which is Higher Critical Essay Self or Peer Assessment. And you're going to open that up. Now again, I've locked this, so you shouldn't be able to go in and edit it here. So you'll need to go up to the three dots again, click that, download it. There we go. Enable editing. Alright. Just making sure that's still recording. Okay, so you'll see that because I'm asking you to do peer paragraphs, you'll see that I've put sections in. So point, evidence, explain, and referring to the question. Okay, so those are your different sections. And then I've put here different things for you to consider. For the points that you see in the essay that you're reading, do you think that the person has made a point relating to the question? Do you think that they've used the words of the question? Do they link from the previous paragraph? Do they highlight the point section in a particular... Ignore that, actually. Like you don't have to do that. That's something that I would maybe ask you to do if you were typing it up. Just ignore that. And ignore the linking words and phrases. I might actually take these wee bits out and I think I will actually, guys. I'll take these considerations out and I'll re-upload this because that's something that we would actually do in class. So we'll just focus on these three for the point just now. Now, see when you're considering these. So let's look at the first one. Have they made a point relating to the question? Well, it's no helpful for the person, because remember, this document's going to go to the person whose essay you've read. It's not really helpful for them if you just go yes, or if you just say no and then move on to the next part. That's not helpful. You need to give a wee bit more than that. Okay, so you could say something like, yes, the point related to the question because you said, and then you could maybe like quote something that they've said, so that they know like that was a good thing. Okay. The next section here where it says, do they use the do they use the words of the question? Maybe they didn't. So maybe you might put, no, you didn't use the words of the question, which meant it was difficult for me to work out what question you were answering. Okay, so there you're given an effect. What effect has it had on you as the reader? Okay, because using the words of the question is a really important thing, and I guarantee you that some of you are going to read essays here where the person has not written the number of the question that they were answering, and they've not indicated anywhere which question out of the two that it was that they were answering. So some of you are going to have to put something like this in the feedback. You're going to need to tell the person you need to refer to the question. You need to be using the words of the question so that the reader knows that which question it is that you're answering, because otherwise what's the point? Okay. The third point here, do they link? Let me just get rid of these because we're not going to use those. I'm going to save this again for you without those in it. So do they link from the previous paragraph? Maybe again they don't. No, you didn't use any linking words or phrases. So what does that mean for you, the reader? What effect did that have on you? Well, you might say something like, this meant that the essay didn't flow well and seemed like separate arguments rather than one essay answering a question. Okay, something like that. You might have different reasoning, but always remember, when you're answering these considerations, answer it like yes or no, give a reason, but also say what effect it had on you. How did it affect your reading experience of the essay? Okay, so I mean, that's quite a good amount to be given to somebody to consider for their point. That's quite a good amount for feedback. So please do that, and please don't just be giving people one or two words. Okay, that's not helpful, and it's not why we're doing the task. All right. So that's what to do for that. And once you've completed that, then the next thing that I would like you to do, if we go back to Teams. So let's say that you've been in here, right? You've updated all of the comments on the strengths and the next steps. So you're saying good things that they've done about the point and things that they need to do next time. Good things that they've done when they've been writing their evidence and things they need to do next time, and then the same for explaining, the same for refer. Once you get to the bottom here, it's time for you to give a mark out of 20 for the critical essay. Okay, so to do that, you're going to go back to the files section, critical essay, and you're going to go to this document here that says 2019 past paper. Open that up. I'm going to download that actually so that it's a little bit bigger. Okay, and what I would like you to do is just take the cursor, scroll all the way to the very bottom, and there you'll see a marking grid for critical essays. Okay, all the way at the very, very bottom of these this past paper. So you have different columns here for the different marks. This is what the SQA use. We've used this in class before. Everybody has seen this before. Everybody knows what the expectations are of the different columns for what mark you can achieve. So you know that you're getting assessed on your knowledge and understanding of the poem. You know that you're getting assessed on your analysis skills of the poem. You're getting assessed on the evaluation, and you're getting assessed on your technical accuracy. If we start with technical accuracy first, the technical accuracy, this bit spans from 20 marks all the way down to 10. So if you're passing, because 10 out of 20 is your pass mark, so if you're passing on technical accuracy, that means that there are few errors in spelling, grammar, sentence construction, punctuation, and paragraphing, and the essay is able to be understood at first reading. If you have an essay in front of you and you are reading it through and you think, oh jings, I have no idea what this is talking about at all because of the spelling errors, or maybe there's absolutely zero punctuation in it, then that comes into this box here. Significant errors in spelling, grammar, sentence structure, punctuation, and paragraphing, which impedes understanding, which means that you cannot understand it because the spelling is so poor or because the punctuation is so poor. Okay, if you are genuinely unable to understand it, you can't pass it. Okay, and that's what the SQA would say as well. They wouldn't pass an essay that has so many technical errors to the point where it can't be understood. So that's the first thing that you need to be looking for when you're given your mark. Then if you think, I mean, there's going to be very, very few essays that are like that, okay, but you might get one, okay? So let's assume that the spelling and grammar and everything's okay, right? Then you're looking at the knowledge and understanding, the analysis and the evaluation. How have all those gone down? Well, let's start with marks 0 to 5. Now again, there's not going to be very many people that get 0 to 5. 0 to 5 marks is usually reserved for people that have maybe only done a couple of paragraphs, haven't written very much, and they've not actually demonstrated their knowledge and understanding of the text. Maybe they've only given 1 or 2 quotes. If so, then you're having to put them in this column. Maybe they haven't referred to the question at all, in which case you'll need to sort of think about their understanding. Analysis and evaluation, maybe they've got very little of that, in which case you need to put them into this column. Then in marks 6 to 9, we go from very little of everything to limited. Okay, so there's some stuff there. There's some evidence of knowledge and understanding of the text. There's some evidence there. There's some quotations. So probably more than 2, maybe 3. That would probably be a bit limited, having 3 quotes. Limited focus on the demands of the question. Maybe they've kind of mentioned it in the conclusion, the introduction, but nowhere else. Limited analysis of the effect. So maybe their analysis is just very, very basic. Maybe their evaluation is very, very basic, in which case you'd be putting them in this column. Okay? Then we go from limited everything to adequate, and this is where you start passing. Okay? So adequate means that everything's just fine. If you're getting 10 or 11 or 12 marks out of 20, then everything's just fine. You're kind of coasting. You're all right, okay? So your knowledge and understanding is okay. Your evidence, so maybe you're given quotes. Yeah, good. You've got quotes in each of your paragraphs. Like, fine. You've got adequate focus on the demands of the question. So maybe you put in a wee line at the end of every paragraph, referring back to the question. Fine. Adequate analysis and adequate evaluation. Okay, so again, it's not very in-depth, but it's a wee bit better than basic. Okay, then we get into 13 to 15 marks, and this is where knowledge, evidence, analysis and evaluation are clear. So it's getting more obvious that the person understands the poem. It's getting more obvious that the person has a clear opinion and a clear engagement with the poem. And here with the textual evidence, it says clear textual evidence to support a line of thought which is clearly structured and expressed. So the way that they're structuring that is a little bit more skillful than just somebody that's done it adequately, that's just sort of plonked it in the middle of a paragraph, which is fine to do, but when you're getting into these marks 13 to 15, you're actually able to introduce quotations in a little bit more of a skillful way. 16 to 18, so now we're getting into secure everything. Okay, secure knowledge and detailed textual evidence. So maybe this is the part where you're going to be starting to break up your quotations, probably in clear textual evidence as well. The person's maybe like broken up the quotations and analysed the parts, but here they've done it in a lot more detail. Detailed analysis, engaged evaluative stance, so it's clear that the person is engaged with the text. So if you believe that their knowledge and understanding is secure and everything is very detailed, you'd be putting them in somewhere in this column. And then 20 to 19, this is for your absolute superstars, okay? 19 to 20, sorry, if they're getting that higher mark, then that means that their knowledge and understanding is thorough. Okay, it's extremely detailed. They've been perceptive in their selection of quotations to back up their points. So they're not just picking out any old quotation that sort of sounds okay. They have been really, really choosy in which quotations they use. They also have a perceptive analysis of the effect of features of the techniques, and they have a committed evaluative stance, which means that they're giving their opinion and they are absolutely committing to that opinion. They're not being wishy-washy about it and saying, oh, I think that perhaps this is maybe what the message is that the writer wanted to get across. They are standing their ground on it and saying, Robert Browning wanted the reader to know blah, 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 blah. Okay, so they're being really committed and really strong about their stance on it. Okay, this column's for your absolute high-flying superstars. All right, so have a wee look over this yourselves, and then once you have completed your your peer assessment, you're going to put down here. You could put mark and then whatever it is, 13 out of 20. Okay, so put that at the bottom. Then once you've done that, you're going to save it. So save as, and then whatever it is that you're saving it as. And then can you email that to both myself and Miss Murphy, please? And we will get it back to the person that it needs to go to. You don't have to put the person's name on it at all. I have a note of who is marking whose essays. Okay, so please don't feel the need to put somebody's name on. All right. So let's just do a wee bit of a sum up here. First thing that you need to do, complete the self-assessment document and email this to me and Miss Murphy, okay? You need to do that before you do anything else, before you look at anybody else's essays. Then read the essay in your class notebook. So go to your class notebook, go to critical essay, and then go to the peer assessment page, and you'll find the essay in there, and make notes at the side as you're reading if you want to, if that's going to help you. Fill out the peer feedback document. Don't put your name on it, and you don't really need to put the person, well, you're not going to know the person's name on it, but don't put your name on it. At the bottom of the peer feedback document, give a mark out of 20. Use the SQA marking grid to help you with this. And lastly, email the peer feedback document with the mark out of 20 on it to myself and Miss Murphy. Any questions at all about any of this, guys, please give myself and Miss Murphy a wee shout, and we'll try and clear up any problems that you're having. Okay, thank you.